Welcome to another episode of the Geek Studios podcast. As always, we got Mr. Mix and Mr. Man Spider over here. Okay, I like it. I
No
like it.
copyright. No copyright.
Oh, I know what I should change myself to. Hold on.
Mr. O'Hare.
Yeah, Migs O'Hara. There you
I
go.
knew it.
I had to use the whole point, with him be name. We having the same name, So now before we start, I wanted to say, so the topic for today's episode is going to be Spider-Man across the Spider-Verse. Now we will be doing a full dive into this, so we'll let you know once we start. That way, you go watch it. Yeah, it's gonna be full of spoilers.
If you're listening and you have not seen it, spoilers are ahead. This is your warning.
You need to go watch this, right? For those that have not live under a rock and they don't follow us on anywhere, they did not see our perfect rating for this movie. It got 6 out of 6 beers from us, so fantastic rating. Very few little things get 6 out of 6 from us. We try and be as realistic as possible.
Yeah,
and that definitely got 6 out of 6, maybe even more. It would have gotten like 7 out of 6. But yeah, so before we start talking about what's it called, the movie, let's start with a simple check-in. So Mr. Ernest, what do you got going on? Like, what's one thing you're watching? What's one thing you're excited for? Let your fans know what's been up with Mr. Man Spider.
So, what I've been up to, I've definitely been doing a little bit digging, doing a little research, getting our fact-based podcast really nailed down, making sure we have a lot of good things coming in the works. We're getting our Twitch up and ready so that we can start streaming. We're continuously streaming. We're getting that. We're building our foundation. But as far as anime and things, there is one anime that I have recently started watching, and let me get you that name, because it's very much the basics for everyone that doesn't know. I am a huge isekai fan.
Right. I think by now everybody kind of knows that.
So
and it's fair because I think most people are.
Yeah, so one of the things that I've been watching lately is Summoned into Another World for a second time.
Okay, yeah. So I haven't seen it, but I have a shared account, and the other person in this account, I've noticed that they've been watching it, so I've been kind of interested. But yeah, tell us a little bit what it's about. Maybe you'll convince me to watch it ahead of some other ones that
So I will say this. So as you know, our rating scale is 6 beers out of 6 beers, and I would rate this probably a good average, is like a 3.5 out of 6. Like,
okay.
It's very familiar territory for isekai. Like it's not anything huge or important. It's just a good isekai to watch. So the basis of it is, it reminds you a little bit of Sword Art Online, where there's the MC is someone who has been to this world before. Somehow, so he died. He died fighting the big bad, and he returned to his home world. As far as he know, he saved the world. He sacrificed himself to save the world, and now this event has happened, which has brought him back. He's trying to figure out what's going on and how, if the big bad survived from this previous, from this world that he was once a part of, and he's in a different body kind of sense. So he doesn't have, like, he has potentially like the same skill set, but his physique is not the same. So people have to, like, they understand him because of his aura. Like, oh, that's who you are. and the speech writing and the things that he do. But from the most part, I'm only about 4 episodes into this single season, and it's pretty average. Like it's nothing wow, nothing amazing. However, there is something that I would highly recommend, and that is I got a cheat skill in another world.
Uh, is it a cheat skill? Is it the one with the 2 doors?
Yeah,
Yes,
so I got a
that
cheat skill in another world and became unrivaled in the real world too.
yeah. I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty good.
It is, and it's at this time of this podcast, it is 10 episodes in, and it's been really, it has been really interesting. It's isekai, but still, it's sort of online. You get to go back and well, not maybe online, but you get to go back and forth for both worlds. He got all of these powers. He become overpowered, and he still get to use these same powers in the real world.
Yeah, because they
And
transfer over, right?
design, like yeah, um, it's just intriguing because of it's it's a new story being able to use your powers outside of just oh you didn't just become overpowered in this world, now you're overpowered in both worlds and your life and hijinks are changing because
Hmm.
of course he used to be this fat kid that everybody picked
Everybody
on.
bullied, yeah.
He was the worst of the worst, but now all of a sudden he can beat up everybody, he can do this, and he had to change schools
All
and
the hotties,
yeah, everything.
yeah.
He all the hijinks, every woman wants him, and somehow he starts interacting with supermodels who, oh,
Yeah.
you're so genuine and things like this. You're not like anybody I've known before because he's not like anybody before. Um, he's the trouble kid who just happened to get a
Uh,
serious makeover.
right, a serious upgrade. Right? Like he really went high up on that upgrade.
Yeah. So that would be my two. Actually, I would say, yeah, that would be my two recommendations. I feel
Okay.
like both of them are really they're good watches. However, I would rank out of our rating, um the first one being dang, what was the name I just said? I apologize. Um
Uh,
oh, I got
Summon
Isekai Ninja
Hero.
World for the
Yeah.
second time. Definitely at 3.5 out of
Oh,
three
six.
beers and a shot.
Okay.
And then the second one would be definitely I would put it more so 4 beers and a shot.
Okay.
I definitely enjoy it a lot more. The action, the fighting sequence are a lot better.
And I agree with that. Like I've seen the second one, right? And
Yeah,
I do enjoy it. And like I was telling Cheese, like hey, for some reason it feels different because it almost feels like hey, he's in two parallel worlds, right? Where they transfer like information, like whatever he does in one world, like whatever ability he gets in the other world, and things like that. But
he's
it's
living two
cool.
separate
It's
lives,
yeah.
completely different from where he was born into, and it's all like happened by chance. Oh, my grandpa died and left me this random house that has a weird, strange door that leads to another place.
Yeah. uh Man, that's good though. So for me, and this is the story I was telling you that I was gonna save it until we started recording. Um, so I was having some issues, right, with some like some of my devices getting picked up by Discovery. I'll try and put this in lame terms as I can. Um, I cannot find certain EC2 instances, so I cannot find AWS servers
I'm saying
in
you got to
our
be more
environment,
layman terms because
right?
EC2 is the tech
Yeah,
term.
yeah. I cannot find AWS servers in our network, and we're getting locked out. We can't find it. Our service account that we use to look for it, to investigate. Hey, where are you? Like it's getting locked out. So uh, we've been troubleshooting this for a week, right? And honestly, our engineers were just like, "I'm done. I'm tired. We've been doing this for a week. We don't know what's going on." At this point, like, is it worth continuing, right? Like, what's the return on investment? So today I went to 21st and Damon. Uh, now 21st and Damon. For all my Mexican people, they'll know exactly who's there. There, there is this amazing tamale lady that's right there. She's in the parking lot of Chase. Now you gotta be careful because there's two or three, so you gotta make sure you go to the right one. Right, it's the one by the exit, not by the entrance, not by the middle. It's by the exit, right? So I got 2 dozens of tamales, and I showed up to the office, and I called up all the engineers. Like, hey, like let's just talk real quick. And I gave them the tamales, and I gave them like a some champurrado. I gave them also, bro. They were
you
eating,
buttering everybody
bro,
up.
and they were like, "Oh yeah, you and that." Like, oh, we were talking. We're not, and like I tried not to bring up as much work. I was just like, man, honestly, like all the stuff we've been doing is crazy, right? They're like, yeah. So they left. They went to their cubicles, and next thing I start getting messages like, "Hey, I think I know what the issue is." I was like, "Oh, really? How?" They're like, "Well, afterwards, when we got back to their section, they were like, we really need to solve this." So for an hour, they were just there brainstorming, and they brought in like senior engineers from other teams, like, "Hey, can you help us?" Right? And now on Tuesday we have another troubleshooting, and this time, like, I'm bringing every single team. I'm bringing Linux. I'm bringing cloud. I'm bringing the platform team, our engineers, security. We're all gonna get together, and we're like, you know what? We need to fix this issue, and the engineers are like gun hoing it. Like it used to be me, now it's them. Like, hey, let's gun ho it. And I told you know what? Once we solve this, bro, I'm like, I'll buy either tamales or tacos for everyone, right? So, bro, they are on it, dude. Like, I am getting messages. I was trying to go to sleep earlier. I was trying to take a nap when I got home from work. Like, I'm getting pinged, like, hey, I'm checking this account here. I'm like, you guys really want this stuff? And I was like, you know what? It is 100% true. Like, as an engineer, as a developer, like if they're, and especially, so most of these engineers are out of state, right? So they're coming in from Ohio, they're coming in from like Minnesota, all these places where maybe like ethnic food isn't as available, and if it is, it's maybe a little washed down. So when they had, bro, like they were like, "Oh my god, these are so good, like where'd you get them?" I was like, "Oh, well, there's this tamale lady at 21st and Damon."
You
I'm like,
told me,
bro, they don't even know where this is at. Like, they don't
you
even know Chicago. I was like, you know what? Yeah.
don't care. You can't spread the secret too much.
Oh,
I feel like you already said it too many times on the podcast. We're gonna have to
oh
go back.
no. I think everybody should go and be like, hey, I heard about this on Geek Studios. The lady won't even know what you're talking about, right? Especially if you say in English, she'll be like, "Yeah, like I don't know what you're saying, right?" But like, no, she's an amazing, amazing, amazing lady. Tamales are fire, bro, fire. So I was like, you know what? It was worth. It was worth because I had to wake up early, right, to go get them and drive all the way out there. So I was like, okay, cool.
He is out there.
Yeah, so I am about 42 miles away from Chicago, right? I'm over there in the Deerfield.
Your job location.
Yeah, yeah. That's where the job is, right? Like out there, right? So yeah, but it, like, again, had a great time. Afterwards, they took me for lunch. I was like, okay, like, what do you guys want from me, right? And it turns like, yes, they did want something. So I was like, you know what? Okay, I'll start working on it.
Quid
And
pro,
yeah,
this or that.
I was like, okay. So then, yes, for those that do not know, food and alcohol is huge in the IT community.
Yeah.
You give us good food, you give them like good alcohol, like, like, and it doesn't have to be expensive. I'm not talking about expensive, like, oh yeah,
You want a good time.
yeah, you want a
A
good
good
time,
time.
you want a good experience, and bro, like, you get so
Good
much out of
food,
them,
good
right?
time. You'll get whatever you need done.
And especially if you're not a dick, right? Like, that's a big, huge one. You're not
That's
a
a
dick,
huge part of it.
like it'll work, right? If you're a dick and you buy the food, it's like, well, like, I'll eat your food, but fuck you, right? Like, because I've done that before to another team, but I won't say what team it was, right? But I wasn't the only one. I thought I was, and it turns out that no, like, everybody does it to them. But so yeah, so that was my experience. Other than that, I am really trying to catch up on Diablo 4. Uh, by really trying, I mean honestly, I've only probably played like 30 minutes of it, 40 minutes.
That's not trying.
Yes, and like in the sad part is it's like 15 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 15 minutes here, right? So like that's how it's been piling up. And just
Yeah,
because, like I get called from either, like my mom, Cassie, Cheeky.
life.
So yeah, somebody's always needing something when I'm playing. And it's like I could watch TV and you guys don't bug me. As soon as I turn on Diablo 4, it's like everybody's like, hey, let's go bug them, right? But
I feel the same way about Final Fantasy 2. So
mhm,
as everybody know, a couple of weeks ago, maybe even a month or so back now, I bought the entire Final Fantasy series and I've been playing my way through it.
mhm.
I went through one within a week, easy, committing the same like it was like maybe 2 or 3 hours a day. Where now with Final Fantasy 2, it's like literally I get like 13, maybe it's like 13 minutes here, an hour here. Like I
Mhm.
haven't successfully. I feel like I'm not nowhere even halfway done with this game.
I
And
think
and what I do appreciate is the fact that two is much longer than one.
mhm.
Um, but it's like I'm playing through it, and it's getting difficult. It's like the time gap in between. It's like, oh my god, what was I just doing? What was I forget what I was supposed to be doing? What missions I was on? So now I got to spend 10 minutes going back to figure out what I was doing
Yeah.
to play. And then when I figure it out and finally get back into playing, I already got to get off because it's somebody's happening. I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
god, like and that's been my whole routine. It's 10 minutes of recap and then going back and playing for a few minutes.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Like
I,
I would love to get through this game.
I was gonna say something, but it sounded very sus in my head. I was gonna say, I was like, see, bro, what we need to do is we need to take a day of PTO. Get get either hotel room or somewhere where nobody knows where we're at, and just take the PlayStations and just play there all day, right? For like all the work day, right? Like 8 hours, just sit there and like 8 hours uninterrupted, just playing. But it sounds very sus. Like, hey, bro, let's get a hotel and go play video games. Okay, So, but I meant in those intentions, not anything else, guys. Uh, but yeah, so uh, I'm gonna give you a option, Mister Mad Spider. Uh, do you want to do the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse now, or do you want to do the Bruce Reviews indie comic review?
We should definitely do main topic and finish off with Bruce review.
Okay, okay, all right. So again, starting from now, this is spoilers. This is gonna be we're gonna talk full dive into this. So if you have not seen it, then go watch it and then come back, right? Because there's gonna be so much you want to say and talk about and hear that maybe people may not be talking about it near you or people that and you want to somebody you can relate to now. So Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Let's start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Because I even loved how it came on and how it gave you a different perspective. And it again, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, it was amazing because it built on what they created in the first movie. It
Mhm.
was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Because it started off with Gwen this time talking about Miles and his story. Of course, they're reintroducing, hey, this is this is Miles. He's been the only Spider-Man in his universe for X amount of years. Like I love the fact that how they gave Gwen her moment to shine, and
Mhm.
just like in the first time, they still it took the time to introduce pretty much the main characters of how they became Spider-Man, what they've been doing up to this point, and how they got into it. Those callbacks and those flashes and it's nice to see the direction they went into and to really get a more insight into Gwen's universe and seeing
Mhm.
how she was and how she lived her life in her universe and her struggles.
Yeah. So I'll say this, right? Like, obviously the first movie, it was a movie that just it was through Miles Morales' eyes, right? That was his story. You know, like it was through his eyes. It was his story to tell. Uh, Across the Spider Verse, it almost felt like it was two stories that were being told almost simultaneously, and it just fits so well, right? Because it's like you had parts where it's like, all right, it's Gwen's story, and then you had parts where it's like, okay, this is Miles' story, but they made it work so well. And bro, the Spider Verse, right? Like, if in the first movie you were like, bro, like they knocked out the park, they had like a bunch of different Spider-Mans and it just worked. This movie is insane. It is probably what we all thought Doctor Strange the multiverse movie was gonna be. You know,
Yeah,
we all thought it's gonna be some crazy shit, and it was. Like, I'll give it that. Like, it was a little crazy, but not to this extent
not
where
it didn't pay off. Spider-Man, like the way the Spider-Man fans were paid off in this into the I'm sorry, across the Spider-Verse was ridiculous. Like the callback to see all the different you've seen Scarlet Spider, you've
yeah,
seen Punk Spider, I'm sorry, Spider
Spider
Punk.
Punk.
Yeah, they even went back and you got to see Spider Noir,
Yeah,
Spider what is Spider Japan? I don't remember her name. Anime Spider.
yeah, I remember her name, but she's in the first movie,
Yeah,
and then
and
she's like, you know,
they introduce you to so many more. They introduce you to Lady Spider. They
Le-
introduce you to
Lego Spider Man, right?
Lego Spider Man.
Lego Spider Man's in there, bro.
That it was crazy how many like they went so far. Spider Man India.
Spider, yes, yes, and
Yeah,
like, what's it called? You had a whole bunch of different Spider Mans, right? And then the crazy part is, they said, hey, we want to give everybody their own identity, right? So they, like, when you see them. Not all of them jump the same way. Not all of them fight the same way, nor swing the same way. And you're like, they really put time into this, right?
into each individual Spider
And
Man.
you're like, God damn, bro, like, that is like the amount of time it must have taken them to be like, you know what, this person's gonna, this is how they're gonna act, this is how they're gonna swing, this is how they're gonna fight for each one, or at least the ones that showed on the screen. It's ridiculous, right? And then you have callbacks to Spider-Man's from even the video games, right? You had
I love the fact that they gave the PS1 Spider-Man screen time.
yeah,
Like they gave him his screen time. They showed him he had his one line, but it was fucking amazing. How many different Spider-Mans there were? And they did it was built so it felt genuine. It wasn't like, oh, these were forced showings, or it was like they were stuffed into this. It was genuine how
mhm,
they came about, how they showed them, who they showed, because they were brought in. I love the fact that they brought every Spider-Man in existence that we know.
yeah,
Um, I wouldn't. Matter of fact, I feel like maybe not everyone, but they had hit a lot of great eras. They gave us Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. They gave us
yeah,
Andrew Garfield Spider-Man.
yep,
And while they didn't show the current Marvel Spider-Man Tom Holland, they had characters from his movie.
hmm,
They had characters from his series there and present. So it's like it's only equivalent. Like everybody is here. We're talking about past. We're talking about future. They had everybody. They had the Iron Spider. I don't know
yeah,
if
the
you
Iron
caught it.
Spider.
They had Iron Spider walking around. They had quite a few really notable Spider-Mans. I for sure think I've seen Superior Spider-Man. I seen again I think
T-Rex Spider-Man, like,
T-Rex Spider-Man. It was nice.
it so there was so many Spider-Mans, right? But it didn't feel forced, right?
Again, no, it was
And,
not for
and
even
it
a
like,
little bit.
and that's the crazy part, right? And you're like, oh crap. And then they touch on the whole point of the movie, right? Is the whole canon, right? Like, you have to keep being canon. And if you fall off of canon, you know, your dimension could enter these crazy catastrophes that could wipe out your dimension. Now, it's crazy because as nerds and as geeks, to us it's like, oh bro, is this canon or is this not canon, right? And like I think that's how everybody sees things, like what's canon, what's not canon. And the fact that they're able, like in this movie, they pretty much made every single Marvel movie, every single Spider-Man in existence almost. They made them all canons in their own way, right? Where it's like you're canon, but you're from this universe, right? And it was just insane. Like I'm not gonna lie, it was insane. And at first, when I saw the villain, I saw the spot. I was like, okay, it's a goofy villain. Yeah, he's just gonna be, like the villain in the beginning, and then afterwards they're gonna move on to big and bad, right? The fact that not only did Miles, Gwen, um, Peter, like they all had those kind of like I wouldn't say redemptions, but they kind of had that like, oh, I'm going through something, and then afterwards I'm gonna go through it, right, and I'm gonna grow from it. The villain had that. The villain went from a horrible villain or like a side villain, and now he's literally like this super amazing villain that it is threatening everybody, right? And because he just has the power of the multiverse, and through his spots or whatever, and it was very nice to see. I did not expect that at all, right? I feel like this movie, I saw the trailer and that's it. I did not read anything. I did not look up anything. I was like, I want to go in there blind, not know shit, right? I'm like, I want to go in there and enjoy it. And I am so grateful that I was able to go and enjoy it the way I did, because I had no idea what was going on or what was going to happen next. All I know is I was looking at the time because I was like, man, it's getting close to the end time. How are they going to wrap this up? Now, Ernest told me, hey, whenever you're done with the movie, call me. Did not tell me, hey, just to let you know, it ends in a cliffhanger, or just to let you know there's a to be continued, there'll be a second part. Nothing. Did not tell me nothing. I was like, okay. So I'm sitting there, right? And all of a sudden it's just like, wait, no, there's no way they're gonna do it to be continued, right? There's no way. Nah, like that was just one time. One time Marvel did that, right? And they did it, right? And I'm not gonna lie, I think that was possibly the best ending, because now you're gonna get a amazing ending, which is the whole movie is just gonna be an ending to this part, right? The next movie. And I cannot wait, bro. Like it like to see Miles as Prowler, I was like, that's fucking nuts, right? And then like you were saying earlier, um, like a lot of people may know, a lot of people may not know, but uh there's a lot of people that say that the reason why Miles Morales was created was because of Donald Glover. Now, for those that don't know, that's Childish Gambino. Bless you,
Thank you.
bless you, baby.
Edit
But
that out.
no, absolutely not. That stays on. That is gonna be a clip all itself. Uh, but what's it called? So he really wanted to be Spider-Man, and he started a campaign. The show community was behind him because he was in the show. And it was to the point that they started showing him with the Spider-Man gear, right? Like he had a shirt, he had all this. So like it was really put out there, like, hey, this like he wants to be Spider-Man. Unfortunately, the role went to Andrew Garfield. I won't say unfortunately because I think Andrew Garfield did a pretty good job as Spider-Man, in my opinion. Uh, and then afterwards, it got so much attention that a year later, that's when they created Miles Morales, right? So there's a lot of people that attest or that will say like, "Hey, the reason why you got Miles Morales was because of this guy," right? Could it be? Maybe. Maybe it was an idea that was planted. Maybe it was already an idea, and it was like that was the final decision where it's like, look, exactly, I need to move forward with my idea. But whatever it was amazing. And I think honestly, honestly, Miles Morales has grown to be a huge fan favorite in a such a small time compared to, for example, Peter Parker, right? Peter Parker has been out for years, right? But Miles has only been out for since what, like 2000, was it 11? 2000.
It's fairly recent. Um, let's see. Let's give you exact 2011 exactly.
2011, see?
2011 was his first appearance.
Yeah. And I think Donald Glover or yeah, Charles Gambino and Community, they aired out that episode in 2010. So just a little bit before it, and from there, did it start turning wheels? I don't know. But and the fact that Childish Gambino or Donald Glover was in the Tom Holland Spider-Man movie, and he was kind of like, hey, this is gonna be a Prowler, right? And they're gonna show Miles Morales in the future. Now, does that open the door for a Miles Morales in Tom Holland's universe? Or is it one of those like there's no Miles Morales there? Miles Morales only exists in his universe, right? Which is where, like, I guess it gets a little jumpy, right? Where you're like, all right, who exists where, what can exist where, who cannot exist here, uh, because I have one question. Maybe you know this. So in the movie, they said that the spider that bit Miles Morales was not supposed to bite him, right? He was never supposed to be Spider-Man, right?
Yes,
Because that spider was from a different universe, which is where he was sent in the end, and it
correct,
was transported into his universe, and that's when it bit him. So
correct.
who was supposed to be the Spider-Man of his universe then?
See, and so here's the theory: is that spider was always meant to bite Miles Morales, but it's supposed to bite the Miles Morales of Universe 42. And that's the theory that's going on right now is Miles was always supposed to be a Spider-Man. That spider was genetically made, like it was searching and it was meant to bite Miles Morales.
Okay.
That's how it went and found him in into the Spider Verse. And if it would have remained in Universe 32, then his Spider Man, I'm sorry, Miles Morales in Universe 42 would have still been Spider Man. The thing is, I feel like one of the things that I've been watching, and I've been learning or researching and digging off into these particular theories is the fact that the theory that they're playing around with is when someone is supposed to become a Spider-Man and they don't, they always become a villain.
Mm-hmm.
And we really been playing with this concept because going back to Childish Gambino, and he wanted to play Spider-Man. The whole Miles Morales was literally created based off of him and his want to be Spider-Man, and him becoming the Prowler.
Prowler.
But what we do know is there is one Prowler in all of the Spider-Man lore that actually becomes a Spider-Man.
Yeah, he does. Well,
So
there's a
it's like,
Prowler that becomes good, and
yeah,
then afterwards, kind of becomes Spider-Man a little bit, and he becomes kind of like an anti-hero kind of a thing.
yeah. So it's in that theory of because the spider, the genetic spider, was taken from his universe that he became the Prowler, or is it
Mm.
like that's the reason he became the Prowler? And what if he didn't become the Prowler? Does that mean that our Miles Morales that we know from the I think he's technically 6616 or 166166. I don't remember exactly.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not sure, but yeah, I know.
would he have become a Prowler if he didn't get bit?
Mm.
But because he got bit, he became Spider-Man, and because the other one didn't get bit, he became a Prowler. Like it's one of those things. Like Miles Morales was meant to be a Spider-Man, and it's just dependent. It's the theory is how and when and where, like what happened, and that's the whole. I feel like that is the goal of these movies, and his whole drive is like I'm meant to be here, and you're telling me that I'm not, and I am. The only reason you're fighting against me is because you couldn't save the people that you wanted to save.
Right.
And now you're trying to stop me from saving the people I want to save because you're thinking that it's going to break down all of these things. And Miles is like, yes, we're going to break your tiny web because you're not focusing on the big web. You're focusing right here on the small section, thinking these small things have to happen to create these particular events. This sad, sorrow Spider-Man, but if we save these, we can be a better man than what you initially thought. Like just because these events created you the way that you are, doesn't mean I can't become better in a different path.
Mm. And that's, I think that's where it could go, right? So after the movie, like Cassie was telling me, she's like, you know what, like I did not like Miguel O'Hara. I'm like, why?
Of course
She's
not.
like, and she's like, because like he just thinks he knows it. I'm like, look, so the way his mind is thinking is like, look, I lived it. A whole dimension, a whole universe died because of me. So he has that guilt. And to him, it's like, I need to make sure it never happens again. So he's only thinking from that mindset, and he's not thinking of how can I make sure this doesn't happen again without, without having to be like, you know what, we got to keep everything canon. And the fact that, like when the Spider-Man from India, like they broke the canon, and like his universe was starting to like go through this weird phase, right, with this weird dimensional crisis, and they were trying to contain it. So it means, okay, yes, it might be possible, but then this is something that's going to affect you no matter what, right? So shouldn't you try and solve, hey, how can we stop that from happening without limiting everybody, like all the Spider-Man out there? So I was like, he just thought of it as like, this is a patch for those people in IT. Is a patch. We're gonna keep rolling with this patch instead of like, hey, this connection is broken, or like if we keep this little this part alive, the connection will work. But it's like, okay, have you thought about giving it master access? Have you thought about doing all these other things that could possibly bypass like the access request or something, right? And I think that's where Miles is going. He's like, you know what, I'm gonna live my life. I'm gonna save my people. You can't tell me what to do. And everybody else is like, you know what? Yeah, like this fucked up that you're pretty much telling them like your dad has to die in order for everybody else to live. Because if not, this is gonna happen. And could it happen? Maybe. You never know. It's hinting that it could. Uh, but at the same time, for example, Gwen Stacy's dad is gonna retire from the police force. So will that break canon as well, or is it like as long as it's a commissioner or a captain, right? Doesn't matter who it is. As long as it's a captain that works with Spider-Man. But then what happens if you're like, you know what? I don't want to work with anybody in the police. Like so there's a lot of questions, but I'm sure if you dig down and you bury yourself in like all the lore that they're creating, the answer will probably be there. I just don't have time to do all that, right? I'm trying to solve something at work and trying to feed people tamales so they could fix something for me. But no, like the movie was great. I like that everybody got their own style of animation. Like it wasn't a one fits all. Like the animated Spider-Man, like from the animated series, for example, I know like the one that Drake Bell voices, it was exactly the way that it's in the cartoons. Like everybody was like exactly the way they were. I think the only exception was Spider Punk, and they decided, he's like, you know what, we're gonna do him like kind of like punk style, like with the different colors and different things, which I'm not gonna lie, that motherfucker stole the show, dude. Like he was amazing, right? I was like, damn, like we walked out and Chica's like, that's my favorite Spider-Man. I don't care what you
course
say.
she would. Of course she would.
She's like, you can keep. She's like, keep Miles Morales. Go ahead. Keep Miguel O'Hara. Keep Peter Parker. I don't care. That's my Spider-Man. I was like, oh, okay. She's like, yeah, that's my favorite Spider-Man. So now she wants to get a poster of him or something. I was like, oh, okay. And she wants to read his story.
The story, yeah.
I was like, okay, it's a good story.
Yes, it's a great story. It's I think she would definitely enjoy it. She's definitely in her fight the power
yeah,
era,
yeah,
rebellion, fight the power era. I'm not mad at it.
no,
I will say like it was just so nice. So I'm gonna read off a list of just a few of the Spider-Man that were shown
okay,
because again, I just love it. They showed Cyborg Spider-Woman. They showed uh,
really,
yeah, they did. It was a split second. They
okay,
showed Westlinger,
yeah,
Patrick O'Hare Westlinger. They showed Spider-Man 2211. They showed the Spider Therapist.
yes.
They showed Spider-Man from the 1978 Japanese TV series.
Oh, the Spider-Man, like
Yeah,
that with the web thing. Oh, and the flying car.
They also yeah, Spider Car was they also
Spider car
they,
was in there. Yes,
they showed Spider-Man from Insomniac PlayStation video
yes,
game.
they did, and they
And
called them they called them Spider-Man, like Insomniac Spider or something like
Spider-Man,
that.
yeah, Insomniac Spider-Man. They had Spider-Man from Spider-Man Ultimate Spider-Man Unlimited. I'm sorry, Spider-Man Unlimited
Mm-hmm.
TV series. They had
Yep.
the Spectacular Spider-Man from the TV series. They had Spider-Man from the Marvel Mangaverse. They
Okay.
had Superior Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
They had Spider-Woman.
Yeah.
They had Scarlet Spider. They
Yep.
had Spider Bitch. They had Captain Spider.
Uh-huh.
They had Sun Spider. They had Lady Spider. Spider Knight. They had
Mm.
Spider Side. Old Man Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, they had Spider Mechanic. They had the Ultimate Tarantula. Again, they had Spider Rex, Spider Cat, Lego
Yeah.
Spider Man. Yeah, right. And again, this is just a few of the Spider Mans that they had. It was phenomenal, and I feel like one of the key things that I do want to bring that I want to bring up and we got to talk about before we move past is the amount of detail and how they age Spider-Man. So we know in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Miles was what was he? 13? 14?
Mm. In this one.
How they aged him up a little bit. They showed his maturity and things that he learned over the time frame from one to now. It's like all
Yeah.
right, you're not tip top Spider Man, but you have been Spider Man for a while. They even gave you the whole scene of okay, so what can you do then? Because we know how much he struggled in learning in one.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's like, oh, watch me. I can thread the needle. I can do this. I can keep up with you. But yet at the same time, he was like, I can keep up, but I'm not quite there because he did lose Gwen in that
Mm-hmm.
spurt moment. He lost sight of her while he was trying to do his thing, and she went off and did her thing with the spot, but came back. She's like, oh, it like give you those stages of growth and give me that like, all right, he's better than he was, but he's not there yet. But then at the same time, this same Spider-Man who's not there yet beat and he out
He
strategized
outwitted. Yeah.
Spider Corp.
Yep. He
No
outwitted Spider Corp.
hands on him, but nobody could actually hold him down and catch him. And he was able to make it out of their whole pocket universe back to wherever he need to. And he pretty much did it almost on his own. So that's saying like it's like he's not there yet, but yet he's so different and he has the such a different mindset that I can beat you. I might not be able to beat you one on one, but he knows as a Spider-Man, what they say you it's not about how many times you get knocked down, but it's always about getting back up.
Mm-hmm.
He took a couple of beatings, he took some strong hits, and he kept pushing, kept going, and he was proving to him. And when he got back, he's like, "You're right, Mom. You told me everything about the world, and I proved them. I proved them wrong. I showed I can do it, and here I am standing right here in front of you. about to show you not like I'm gonna show them all. And like the setup for Beyond the Spider-Verse is just is gonna be amazing.
It's
We
crazy. Like it's
we
crazy.
haven't even talked about the actual villains yet. Like they brought in Vulture from the Renaissance period.
The Renaissance period.
I like the fact that how they brought and how they animated him and how they show like every time he all his moves and stuff was like the Da Vinci stuff was popping up and like he was actually a really powerful foe. It took 3 Spider-Man to beat them.
Yeah.
1-on-1, he probably would have whooped. He would have beat any Spider-Man 1-on-1. The fact that Miguel O'Hara had to call for backup, and I didn't. So he rubbed me the wrong way. Like I know Miguel O'Hara's. No, I know Spider-Man 2099 story a little bit, but the fact that he was going to bite this man, he's going to put him out his misery. Before the helicopter showed up, he's gonna because he's like spider, vampire.
Yeah, he's he's a cross between vampire, werewolf kind of Spider-Man. And that's where it was like, oh, he's kind of they even said it like when it's like, oh, he's kind of a vampire. Like, wait, what? It's like, yeah, he's a vampire ninja Spider-Man. Like, how the fuck does that mix, right? But yeah, like he definitely like Miguel O'Hara definitely looks like that. I take no prisoners. It's gonna be my way or my way.
Yeah, he's. I got to do this because I know nobody else is gonna do it. He's that type of person that's like, I'm gonna put him down so he never gets back up.
Yeah. Like put him down, bury him. You ain't never gonna hear about him again, kind of a thing, which I appreciate, right? Because that's there's a few characters that are like that, right? For example, Punisher, and it's sometimes it's refreshing to see that style versus the like let me talk to you, let me give you a change of heart.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? When I saw that, I was like, damn, this dude is gonna be like, fuck it, I'm taking you out no matter what. So I was excited. I was like, is he gonna do it? Is he gonna do it? But he didn't do it in the end because of the helicopter. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I do appreciate that about him because he's what did we say, the necessary evils?
Yeah,
like I feel like that's why he is the leader of this organization. Is because as he said himself in the movie, he's willing to take those steps no matter what to get some of the things done and make things happen that is necessary to happen.
Yeah.
However, I feel like one of the biggest things in superhero ideology is the fact that they always try to uphold good, but their sense of good is always skewed to what they believe in. And which is why I can appreciate some of these characters like Miguel's like, all right, we are living in that gray area. Everything is in black and white. And I'm not, he's forcing his opinion of good, but at the same time, he does understand that not everything he does is good.
It's good. Yeah.
He knows that. He fully knows that, understand, and he's carrying that weight. He's going to say, hey, I am taking a step and I am doing this action, knowing the consequences, knowing that this action is not the good choice in this moment. It's this action, the greater good is going to weigh the bad that I do right now.
Yeah.
But that also makes him a villain because I feel like every villain is always the same way. It's like, oh yeah, I'm doing this for the good of the earth. Because from 100%, I will always say this: Thanos was right.
Yeah, I mean,
the wrong way, but Thanos was 100% right.
Like his ideology was it was a sound ideology. When people were like, why? Well, like it was about poverty. It was about starvation, and it's like, why didn't he just, for example, make the world bigger? Like, and it's like, why? Do you know how that's going to impact the world? Do you know how it's going to impact something else? You can't just, hey, I'm gonna make the world bigger. That way, we have more time to destroy it. And I'm not gonna lie to you. Sometimes I think is half enough? Right? He wanted to wipe out half of all humanity or all living species, and it's like,
Yeah.
is half enough? Because we're gonna be to the exact same point we're at one, like in certain amount of years, and it's like,
So I feel like, I feel like half was a great number because, while yes, we're going to get back to this point again in probably centuries down the line, but hopefully in this particular time, like, it gives us enough time, one, to really think about and adjust how we could move forward, and then two, it doesn't cut the population or the living creatures so short that it's not going to be, it's unrecoverable.
hmm,
You
okay,
don't want to cut it too much and then be like, oh well, it will never get back to where it was. Well, to a good point. Now it'll start dying off or be overtaken by something else. So you want to give it a, like, just a trim. I feel like half was just a trim.
yeah, it literally is just a term, right?
Yeah, and I feel like I love the fact it's like it was randomized. It's like, no, we're not gonna do this based on wealth, popularity. It's random.
I that yes, that I completely agree with. I think if not saying, hey, like we should do it, right, or it should happen, but if it were to happen in that storyline, I think the fact that it was randomized was probably the best part from the plan, right? But now, speaking of the villains, I really enjoy the fact that the Spot, he did not have like this master plan of like, I'm gonna destroy the world because I've been wronged, or because I've been bullied, or because like I have this crazy ideology. He is literally doing all this mess, all this chaos, just because Miles put him down. He made him feel like he wasn't shit, like, and
He wants to be more than villain of the week.
yeah, he wants
Is
to be
it,
more than villain of the week. He
bro?
wants
I'm
to
a
be the villain.
He's like, I'm your nemesis, and I feel like I should be your nemesis. And I am more than villain of the week, and I deserve to be more than villain of the week. His whole mentality is like, I
It's like you,
created you, you created me, we are meant to be. It's
mhm,
a love story, and he got rejected, and he
yeah,
hates the fact that he got rejected, and now
and,
he's gonna take it out on everybody.
and he got bagel thrown at him too.
A bagel.
Yeah, I mean,
You got
eh,
taken out by a bagel.
he got taken up by a bagel, and then afterwards he ended up in a position where he ended up getting these powers, right? But yeah, like you said, he had this like, what, we're meant to be. Like, what else can I do? I can't do anything else. I can't get a normal job. My life is that I knew was over. So now the only thing I have to do is be this villain. And you made me. I made you, like you said. You are saying I'm just a villain of the week. Like, I'm just some punk, right? Like, I'm not even worth your time. I'm gonna make sure you remember my name. And I was like, bro, I enjoy that. And I enjoy in the end when Miles is gonna tell his mom, like, hey, I'm Spider-Man, I'm this, I'm this. He actually brings up, I'm fighting the Spot. He is my nemesis. I was like, damn, he accepted him. I was like,
Yeah,
he's like, bro, like he is my nemesis. Like yes, my nemesis. That's him. And I was like, damn.
I love the writers and how they took the Spot, and it's like, okay, who power set has the power to become um Omega, in the sense of mutants, is like, who has an Omega power set level, and the Spot, they enhanced his powers in the way that they work. It's like,
Yeah.
what? So he has the power to create spots that allow him to go through this dimension like space to go and appear in another space. Well, what if this dimension can now connect him to the multiverse, and he can go anywhere at any point and collect all these powers? And I love how they built a character from nothing,
Right.
who was really at the beginning of the movie struggling to rob an ATM,
Yeah.
is now this universe level threat.
Yeah.
Like,
And,
what?
and that's what I mean. Like, it's just the writing was phenomenal.
Yes.
Phenomenal.
we grew as the longer you watch it, you grew with the characters. You see both of them. We grew with Miles from movie one to now, and we're seeing his struggles and how he's still growing. Now we're growing with the villain Spot, and we look again. We've seen his struggles, how he's made, and we see how he's learning to adapt and control his powers, and how he's getting better. He was able to fight for, was it for, or let's say Spider-Man India, Punk Spider-Man,
Gwen.
Gwen, and Miles. He was able to fend off all four of them on his own. From when he was just struggling, robbing an ATM. Again,
ATM.
I can't stress the fact though, he struggled. He was still coming to terms with his power to the fact now he can handle four. He was handling four Spider-Man, and now he can probably handle the entire Spider-Man gallery.
Yeah.
And it's going to be amazing to see how they take him out, because one of the key things that was happening is he was running out of spots. So as he ran out of spots, he stopped being able to use his powers. He became normal, and he can't move anymore. He can't become his agile. Now that he has amassed so many spots, or whatever that power is, that enigma, how do you fight him? He's not going to lose these spots anymore. He's become a new being. Where do we go from here?
Yeah. And that's what I really enjoyed. Like, you see characters growing, even side characters, right? You see, as a parent, you see the connection between Miles' parents and him. You see the relationship between his parents and him. You see the relationship between Gwen and her dad, and how they're not perfect relationships, and how they're working at it. And you get to appreciate even more, because you're like, damn, like, it's crazy, right? Like, it's true, you know. Like, there's a lot of functional, dysfunctional in a way families, and I'm not gonna lie, bro. Like, the way or the weight that, for example, Gwen had when, like, your own dad is blaming you for, murdering your best friend,
And you can't
and
even
you
tell
can't tell him,
him.
and he doesn't even know it's you, and then he goes and tells you, like, we almost got her, we almost got this bitch, like, we're this close, we're gonna get her, like, I promise you. And she's like, and it just keeps reminding her, like, hey, Peter died, like, I didn't kill him, he just, like, he got crushed, he died in front of my face, you keep bringing it up over and over and over and over and over, and
And
it's
over
like,
it. Like I'm supposed to get over. So I feel like there's a two-edged story to the whole Spider-Man stick. It's always I became Spider-Man and I was too scared to tell you, and now something happened and it's too late for me to tell you.
yeah.
Like that's the struggle of the Spider-Man. It's like, oh, I got to do this alone. I got to do this alone. And now that all this is happening to you, you looking, and now you're alone. You don't have anybody to talk to. You scared, and that's like her drama. That's the whole problem. Is when it's I always felt alone. I've only ever been able to talk to another
No,
Spider-Man,
Spider-Man.
and
Yeah.
I feel like that's not necessarily a lot of the hijinks and things that happen could be resolved if you just communicate those emotions. Like, let's say she told her dad
Uh-huh.
she was Spider-Man. Well, like when it happened, would he been able to cover it up? No. Would he have been able to like, hey, okay, you're Spider-Man. I am the like he might. I don't know if he was the captain then, but he was like, hey, he probably could have steered the everything in a different direction. He could have been a champion, an ally to Spider Woman in her case. And again, a lot of those things, I feel like yes, you can't tell too many people because the more people you tell, essentially telling the world. But at the same time, you should be able to tell those that like Miles not being able to like telling his mom and dad, knowing how like they've been close and he's been working, like you should be able to tell. And then at the same time, like it's all parallel statements because it's hard to say as a man, like you'll be able to know that you're working with your son.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've been this close, like, oh, this is my son. Like, no, you would never think that, oh, my son has these capabilities. My son can never be in this position because I couldn't imagine. Like I
You just
know
think you just don't. It doesn't come to you.
right.
Like
It's not like Superman. All I got to do is put on my glasses.
right. You know.
It's different. They are holding their mask, so I don't know. I think
And
I'm running with the point of
I really like their voice, how they change their voice to talk to
they
their
always make it,
parents.
hey,
Oh, hey. And the fact that
give him
Miles having a heart to heart with his dad as Spider-Man, bro. That shit, I was fucking
maybe
living, bro. I was
give
like,
him a little
oh
bit.
shit, dude. I was like,
Get off his
what? Oh, amazing, dude. I gotta say that shit was hilarious. And then hearing Gwen do the same thing to her dad, right? Like, did you catch me? I was like, she made her voice deeper too, and I was like, okay, okay. But like, I could see it. Like, I mean, if you're Spider Man, I think they all kind of do that. They all kind of make their voice a little bit deeper. Now, it was very cool to hear Jonah's voice again. Um,
Yeah,
so
I feel
I was
like
like,
it's not Spider-Man. I don't know what's gonna happen when he passed away because I don't think there will ever be a person who can create the intensity that he brings to the J.
JJ,
Jonah
yeah, they
Jameson
watch it,
role.
bro. Like it's just, bro. Like I don't know something about where's Spider Man, and then I think about it. I'm like, all right, so Spider Punk, right?
J.K. Simmons is his name.
Yeah, J.K. Simmons. Yeah, that's the actor's
Yeah,
name. Uh, you know how like all of the Spider Man they eventually work uh for J.K. Simmons, right?
yeah,
They all work at the
that's
Bugle,
true. Yeah.
and what's it called? So I imagine Spider Punk going up to him, being like, "Here's the picture of Spider Man I took," and he's just gonna do like the most craziest poses, craziest shit. And then it's gonna be like, "What the hell? Like, this are weird, right?" And I heard a joke that technically Spider-Man was the very first OnlyFans creator ever because he was selling pictures of himself.
Pictures of himself and sell it to J. Jonah Jameson.
I was like, okay, I can see that and I appreciate it. I appreciate the joke. It's like I get it. But yeah, like again, movie fantastic. Can't wait for the next one. We've talked about this before in private or in person. Uh, could the movie have been 5 hours and just one movie? It could
No, I
have.
feel like no. So no, I feel like five
You
hours.
enjoy the pause?
I enjoy. I yes. Like while I
This is
hate it at the
yeah.
same. I'm trying to get those words together. So I appreciate the fact that they broke it into two movies because that's going to tell me the amount of detail and attention they're going to give to the second movie is going to be worth it. The ending is not going to be rushed. The climax, everything is going to, they're going to be able to elaborate and give so much more of the story, breaking it into two parts versus giving you one. Like having a 5 hour movie is just you can't sit through that. You can't sit like we struggle to hold our pee for 3 hours.
What was
Yeah, and
the
I'm
one?
throwing a little shade because I feel like somebody went to the bathroom doing in war. I'm sorry,
And
Infinity Wars.
Infinity War?
Yeah, a couple people might have got up, went to the bathroom. I stay strong. I was a trooper. Once I sit down, I'm not getting back up. And I feel
Right.
like for that being one of many reasons, a 5 hour like you giving it to us in 5 hours is too much. But
Yeah.
2 3 hour movies or 2 hour and a 3 hour movie is digestible. You can sit down, you can take the time, you can watch these, and you can enjoy them. You won't just building. They are the storytelling. I guess that is my main point in splitting it up, and I will wrap this up in saying that you can tell a better story in two movies than you can in one long movie.
Okay, man, that's true. I think that's the reason why a lot of movies have been doing that. And like for example, we saw that with Infinity War, or sorry, we saw that with Infinity War, uh, Endgame, um, what's it
The
called,
entire Harry Potter series.
Harry Potter,
Yeah, because I
and
feel like these movies with series, and we're not talking about Fast and Furious, um, but movies that like continuously build up on the same story. Like they give you, it's like animes. Like they give you arcs,
mhm.
but there's an overarching story. One Piece being a great example is, hey, his goal is the whole One Piece is there's a pirate there's a young pirate group who's on a journey to become a pirate king, and then they're giving that's One Piece as a whole. But then they have all of these arcs of
All
how
these
does he
arcs.
become a pirate king. He's learning this. He's over here learning this. He's getting to this piece. He's getting to this piece. Like he's slowly building up to the power and the grandeur and the stature of Pirate King before he even gets there. And I feel like in doing it and breaking it down and giving us all of this detail and expanding the lore, one thing everybody in the geek community loves is lore.
Yeah,
Tell,
yeah,
draw me and bring me into this world. Give me everything. Give me the details. Tell me why in Universe 2215 flowers bloom from the bottom instead of on the top. Like stuff like those random details, but the lore and all of that, like we eat it up as a community.
yeah,
And because all of that takes you to a different world and it gives you a different perspective on how everything is and how it can change with a stroke of a butterfly's wing.
yeah. No, I completely agree. Um, I was gonna say something right now. They talked about lore. Uh, it's all the way over there. I'm too lazy to go get it, so I'll just do it another time. But yeah, so a lot of we touched on a lot of a lot of different items for the movie, and the fact is, this movie was perfectly done, perfectly written, perfectly animated, perfectly sounded. The music was amazing. They got Metro Booming like in charge of the soundtrack, in charge of the music. He did his thing. The actors did their thing. The voice actor is amazing. I didn't even know that Oscar Isaac was Miguel O'Hara. I was
How
like
could
he
I feel like his voice is because I guess
first
because I've been watching a lot of his things and a lot of what he's been in. Oscar Isaac is slowly going across the entire Marvel and
he already
like,
he's what, three characters already.
um
He's three characters because he's Spider-Man 2099. He was Apocalypse,
yes.
and then he was what was the other one? Moon Knight.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
Three
yes.
characters. So like he
Technically you
has,
can
yeah.
say five because Moon Knight is three people.
Well, yeah. And then he's in Disney, but yeah, like he's amazing
Oscar
actor.
Isaac is doing his thing.
He
He has
is,
been phenomenal in his roles. And I feel like he's been great. I love the fact that they brought in a lot of new voices too,
yeah.
and not necessarily new to the industry, but new to Marvel.
Hmm.
Like Issa Rae I love her as an actress. Her coming in as Jessica Drew, the Spider Woman,
Bro.
and Daniel
Ho-
Kaluuya,
who?
who was he was in Black Panther. He was the leader of the Border Tribe. He's also in
Oh,
Get
right.
Out. He
Okay.
was in Nope.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
he voiced Hobie
Yeah. Hobie.
or
Yeah.
Funk.
And that's what I was gonna say. I'm like, dude, the the guy who voiced Hobie, like phenomenal actor, and he just did an amazing job. A lot of people were like, I thought it was Idris Elba because of the UK accent, and I was like, it doesn't sound like Idris Elba to me, but
At all.
I guess if to you it sounds like it, then I mean, by all means, right? But yeah, once again, this movie got perfect rating from us. Definitely go watch it. If you're listening to this far, it means you already saw it. So let us know in the comments. Let us know hit us up. Let us know what you think of it. What was your favorite part? And are you excited for the next movie? And who knows? Maybe by doing so, you might enter to get something in return, like a cool little prize or something. Now, on to end the episode, let's do the review. Now, hold on. I hope this works because I did this very last minute, but here we go.
You know
So
how
this
to
is
say that?
the
Technical troubles, maybe.
oh
But
no
yeah.
no no. I want everybody to know I postpone everything to the last minute, and it takes me 2 minutes to do this. Imagine what I could do with 20. Uh, but so this is Bruiser reviews the indie comic book special for today. So for today, we're gonna review Deathbag #1, which is the Epic Misadventures of Deathbag. This is the very first issue. This is by it was created by Julio Guerra, who is in Guerrilla Publishing. Very good friend of the pods, but we're gonna be completely honest, and we're not going to be biased, right? Now, so this was the cover was created by Adam Forster. Also works with Gorilla a lot, and what's it called? So great guy. Like I got a chance to talk to him too, but so I'll let Ernest first kind of
No,
discuss. No, you don't want to talk about it.
no,
No?
you're not gonna throw me out there like that. Go ahead and give us a synopsis, and I will tell you. I will start off on the rating part and why.
Okay, so so Deathbag is pretty much think of the misadventures of Grimm, or is it the misadventures of Billy and Mandy with Grimm?
Yeah, I
So
love this.
it is
That's
very
actually
similar
one of the
kind of
reasons
a
why I
thing.
love this. Yes.
And where like he's a Green Reaper, and it's just his everyday adventures, right? And like it's not like, oh, like I'm on a quest to kill people, do all this stuff. Like no, he's literally it's literally his everyday adventures. So it's fucking amazing because it's like he goes through the same struggles like every other person: traffic, long lines, what's it called, having to buy coffee and having these long lines in front of you. So he goes through the normal day-to-day things that us normal people do, but the only difference is he's deaf, right? So he can kill people, but he can't do anything beyond that, where it's like, oh, I could teleport, I could do all this, I could do that. Now maybe in the future he can, in this first issue he he doesn't have all these crazy powers. And I really enjoy his friend. uh Now I did this earlier too, and the last time I showed a little bit of the artwork. I'm trying to remember what was his name. I'm not, do you remember what was his friend's name?
Ben?
No, like Deathbag's friend.
Oh no. What was his name? They don't say it there?
I'm trying to see. It doesn't so far. Um, I no, it does not say. So it doesn't say what's his name, but like pretty funny guy, and especially because it almost reminds me of a '90s rapper, right? Like the almost like a
Yes.
Flavor Flav with the clock on his neck, and, the big fro kind of top, like the flat top. So like it reminds you so much of that. And once again, the artwork. Now, when I first saw the artwork, I'm not gonna lie, like you're used to like, oh, all these amazing coloring and amazing drawings, amazing artwork, and then you go and see stuff like this. You're like, I mean, it's good, it's really good, but you're used to like fucking beautiful artwork, right? And what's it called, like stuff that's like almost computer generated, right? But at the same time, this artwork fits this kind of book so well, and I feel like if they were to like, hey, you know what, let's make this artwork like fucking 3D-ish, all this crazy shit, like it just wouldn't fit the story and it just wouldn't fit the book. Now, the story itself, because I know that's one thing that we kind of look into, is the I love the fact that it does not have a story. There is no like on this you know, like this is his quest. Like his quest is just his normal adventures, right?
His life.
Yeah,
His life.
it's his normal life. Think of Seinfeld. It's Seinfeld means Bill and Mandy, Billy and Mandy, right? And it is phenomenal. The story is super entertaining. I honestly think if you read this, you're definitely gonna get hooked. You're gonna enjoy like the story. You're gonna enjoy the small little comics and the small little comedy that it has. And at the same time, you're gonna like, if you're a wrestling fan, if you're like a heavy metal fan or like a rock fan, you're definitely gonna enjoy it because there's a lot of kind of throwbacks to those kind of things. Like yeah, Slayer. Obviously they can't call him Slayer. But you know, like it's just it is very entertaining. I really enjoyed it. It is one of these books that I have recommended in the past, and I will keep recommending because I just enjoy it so much. I know Ernest did not want to go first because, as those people that have listened to this podcast for a while, if there is one thing Ernest talks about a lot is Deathbag, right? And he just does not want to go first because he does not want to sound fanboyish. So he rather let me go first. Uh, but so
Yeah, 'cause when you flashed up, I almost went and grabbed my shirt, but then I had to realize that my loving girlfriend knows that it's my favorite shirt, so she often steals it. Um, so right now it is with her safely tucked away. But I love Deathbag so much because I feel like for me it's nostalgic. It did take me back to the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy.
mhm,
As style, like the hijinks that it goes through, like the fact that Deathbag ends up wrestling. It's like, how do we even get here? He is in an actual luchador wrestling match, and it's like, what? How do we get here? How do we go from every day I was just eating cereal, chilling in the kitchen, to now I am wrestling in a fucking luchador match. But it's great storytelling. It is very fun. It's very light. It's good hearted. Like it's a different take. I feel like this isn't the same comic that you will read. It's not Marvel. It's not superhero. It's
it's
it's a
not.
completely different genre, and I love it. And I feel like I can appreciate it more because of where it came from and like how it's an indie comic and it's not the mainstream and it's really good. It's well written. The art style is eye catching.
It is.
It's very fun. It's very playful, and I just, for me, overall enjoy it. I want as many Death Bag swag as I can get. I'm still looking for T-shirts or anything. If you're listening, feel free. Gorilla Publishing, Julio, hook me up, bro.
I'm not gonna lie. Like I was laughing because I remember the very last panel, and it's something that is so simple, yet
But yeah, so fun.
it is fucking hilarious. Dude, because uh, it's Deathback encounters one of those people that talks a lot in the theater, and he handles them in a way. And what's it called? I won't say anything else. You definitely got to read it. Once again, like this is one of those what's those series called where it's like it's in no particular order. Because
I don't
it's
know
not,
the term. I know what you're searching
yeah,
for.
it's not
I cannot
chronological,
give you the
and
term.
they have nothing to do almost with each other. Like in a way, there is some building of a story because I think right now, like the Kickstarter for the next Death Bag will start. I'm assuming late this year, maybe early next year, because Julio is working on some new content or some new stories for Deathbag. You can follow him on social media. You can follow Guerrilla Publishing, like they'll post it. Like you can follow us on all social media. We post this stuff too. Now, to be fair, Mr. Ernest, what do you rate this on one from a 0 through a 6?
0 through 6, I rate Death Bag 5 beers and a shot.
Okay, okay. Like honestly, I'm between 5 and 5.5. Usually, I'll go one down just because it's like, you know what, let me go one down instead of one up. I don't know why I have that system.
We round down here. We round down.
Yeah, so like, I just have that system in my head. Except when it comes to money, then I round up if it's for me. If I'm paying, I round down. Uh oh, sorry
So
about
again, no, I'm just saying. So again, we stated here.
So it's honestly, so it stays at 5. So out of 6, it gets a 5. Technically 5.25, 5.3, but we'll do a 5. It could easily be a 5.5. Honestly, I'm the only reason why I went for a 5 and not a 5.5, and it's gonna sound very, very dickish, is because I wish it was longer. Now there is a longer version, and which is the holier than thou. So that version is a little bit longer, and you get a little bit more content. So like definitely start looking. I would say you could find these at Gorilla's website. We have nothing to do with them. We don't sell these. We get no monetary value if you buy these or not. Just like if you buy the one from last week's or not, we get absolutely nothing. All we want to do is review indie comics, help them out, and spread the word, spread the love. And these are people that have amazing talent, amazing stories, and we want to help them get those stories told. So once again, 5. Let's do 5.5. 5.5 stars. 5.5 beers for Deathbag, uh, Guerrilla Publishing. Like that's all you got. Just go to the website. You'll find all the stuff there. What else can I say, right?
Yeah.
And
yes, it is guerrillapublishinggroup.com. You will be able to find all of their current books, all of their appearances, any news that they have coming up. The great company,
the
great
Kickstarters
people.
too.
Yeah,
the Kickstarters should be
there coming up or that are happening. Any conventions or anything that they will be attending. Example being, right now, Saturday, June 10th, Guerrilla Publishing will be present at Columbus, Ohio, at the Ohio Expo Center for Small Press and Alternative Comics Expo.
Okay, it's funny. I'll probably ask the Ohio engineer to go over there and buy me stuff. Don't tell me we're free. But yeah, so once again, 5.5 for Deathbag. Definitely, we recommend it. What do we also recommend? We also recommend you join us as we stream on Twitch, and as we try and raise money for Laurie Children's Hospital of Chicago. All links will be found on our website. Once again, if we hit our goal is 5K because I am an extra diva. But if we hit 5K, the crew will shave their heads. Mike has not consented to this, so we are still trying to convince him to join the rest of the crew. But
because he hasn't consented, that just means what we're going to do is we will live stream us taping him to a chair and shaving his head for him.
There you go. So, Mike, you know what Mike does hear this, so you heard it here first, Mike.
We love you, man.
One more thing, follow us on Instagram, Facebook. I gotta reboot Twitter. We don't really check Twitter. We're still on the fence about checking on Twitter. But definitely Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. You can find everything. All everything that we post on there. Once again, all of our social media, every single thing we post, you can find at geekstudios.com. That will give you access to our store. our Etsy store where we sell the mystery boxes, our Twitch accounts, the donation, all the information could just be found on our website. One stop shop for everything. Anything we come up with, you'll find it there. The day that Ernest releases his smooth R&B album, the link will be right there too. It'll be called Little Usher, Let It Burn. No, you can't. You gotta say Let It
Smoke.
Smolder. Let it smolder. Okay.
Let it smolder.
Okay. There you go. Black turtleneck, little gold chain right here. What else? Yeah, like in a rain background. It'll just be raining on it.
You gotta have the rain going on.
Yeah, you gotta have the rain. Him looking away from the camera, you know.
And yeah, you gotta hit the ooh. You gotta hit the ooh. You gotta grab the chest with the fist. You gotta dance in the rain, like all the full nine. Wait, just y'all wait. Let It Smolder coming to a music app near you.
Oh man, that's pretty good. All right, but thank you everybody. We will see you guys in the very next episode.
Until next time. Gang.
Adios, everyone. Wait, before I almost forgot, because Ernest gets mad at me. Now we'll see you guys.